Welcome to Hotline TV, everyone. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm John Mercurio. I'd like to welcome all of you to the general election.
Woo-hoo.
Last night we saw Barack Obama and John McCain enter the fall campaign. So let's take a look.
America, this is our moment. This is our time. Our time to turn the page on the policies of the past. Our time to bring new energy and new ideas to the challenges we face. Our time to offer a new direction for this country that we love.
But I'm ready for the challenge and determined to run this race in a way that does credit to our campaign and to the proud, decent, and patriotic people that I asked to lead.
Yeah, that's pretty painful. All right, we got 5 months left.
Yes.
Let's not focus so much on what they said last night. What do they have to do going forward?
What we did see last night, obviously, based on those clips, is that John McCain, a very challenged orator. Barack Obama, obviously a very gifted orator. I think that they need to sort of move beyond that. I don't think McCain's ever going to beat Obama in a speech-making contest. Obama needs to do partly what he did, what you started to see him do today at his APEC speech. He needs to try to relate to people outside this little Democratic base, not little, but this large Democratic base that had been supporting him during the primary. He needs to try to get people to relate to his sort of life experience in a way that they really don't right now, white working class voters, but also suburban voters and other people around the country. He was talking to Jewish voters. He said, you know, I myself in my lifetime have wondered what my homeland was. Right. Obviously a very different experience from Jewish Americans, but one that he hopes they can relate to. So I think more than anything right now, he is the first African American major party nominee, and what he needs to do is to connect with people beyond an emotional appeal and in a way that I think people
You know who does that really well is Michelle Obama. It's almost as if they could just sort of, if he could listen to her, when you hear her tell her story about where she grew up, how she got where she got to.
It was a much more traditional upbringing.
It was, but his also, he has some of the same stories. You see him sort of talking about it. You know, look, whether you were raised by your grandparents, whether you moved around a lot of times, there are a whole lot of people who can relate to that. They can relate to how he was talking during the primary campaign about, look, we didn't always have a lot of money. I know what it's like to have to talk about food stamps. I know what it's like to have to do these other things. Just to humanize him a little bit, I think when you see him on stage with thousands of people cheering for him, you think there is no way that he's anything like me. I could never be like that.
Right, I could never be up there on stage
making that speech. What could he possibly have in common for me? And he has to do it in a way that seems organic to him. And that means no more bowling, no more ordering Pabst Blue Ribbon, no more, trying to, I don't know,
but also,
go to
look,
NASCAR.
no endive, no radicchio, and none of the little liberal elite food. The thing I think McCain needs to do, though, is equally as challenging for him. I think he needs to run a positive campaign. He has promised to run a very different sort of campaign than Bush Cheney does, and yet we've seen a clear part of his strategy is to define Obama. He needs to define Obama. He needs to be the one who's out there telling Americans that they don't know this guy, and what they do know, they should be scared of. At the same time, he tries to run a positive, sort of uplifting campaign, which is clearly what the American public says they want.
Well, it's what they say that he wants, but how can he distance himself, and watching him last night trying to distance himself from Bush while also running as a Republican is, remember that Ken Mellman said this throughout 2006, that you cannot, if you're Pepsi, you can't tell people that they should buy Coke instead. Like, you still have to sell Pepsi to them.
And the reason, there's a couple things. I think I think McCain wants to run as far away from Bush. The reason he can't is because he still has a lot of conservatives who are, not very trustworthy and might not turn out on Election Day. If Obama chooses Hillary Clinton, that problem that McCain has with the conservative base of his party disappears overnight, instantaneously. Those people will turn out, if only to defeat Hillary Clinton. And if that's the case, then McCain can run as far away from Bush as he wants to.
All right, so we have 2 seconds left, but why do this town hall style meeting? Isn't this where John McCain always gets himself in trouble? This is where the "we'll stay in Iraq for 100 years" came out. This is where some of his most difficult gaffes, or for him, the most difficult to overcome gaffes have come.
On stage with Barack Obama. And I think that's frankly why you see the Obama campaign being so excited about the proposal and willing to accept it. This could end up being a big problem for McCain, I think.
All right. Well,
we'll see.
Well, we've run out of time again. But there's plenty of more general election fun coming your way. Until then, I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Don Mercurio. We'll see you next week, or next time.